well, professional with my shirt today. Today we are going to talk about anger. Because of the clear prohibitions in the Bible against destructive anger and our natural aversion to this powerful emotion, many have come to believe that the Bible teaches that anger is sinful. With that assumption in mind, we often misinterpret Ephesians 4:26 to say, don't be angry because it's sin. Don't let the sun go down while you're still angry. But the text does not say that. The wording Ephesians 4:26 through 4:27 does not support the assumption that anger and of itself is sinful. The four interpretive verbs found in these verses make the translation clear. The Apostle Paul commands us to be angry, but he does not stop there. This is by no means a wholesome endorsement of indiscriminate anger. Verse 31 makes that abundantly clear. The first command is qualified by the three prohibitions that follow. Be angry. God knows that anger is an important and necessary emotion for a healthy person living in a fallen world. The preceding verse sets up the context of truth-telling in relationships. We are to stop pretending and put off falsehoods and speak truthfully to our neighbors. Being honest about our anger, therefore, is something we cannot avoid. The command is this: be angry about how your sin harms you and others, and how others' sin harms them and you. John Stott, in this commentary on Ephesians 4:26, says, the verse recognizes that there is such thing as Christian anger, and too few Christians either feel or express it. Indeed, we fail to do so. We deny God, damage ourselves, and encourage the spread of evil. The message of Ephesians, Paul recognized the potential for devastating harm that can come from unbridled rage. That is his reason for giving three qualifying prohibitions that follow this call to be angry. Don't sin. The command is not to avoid anger, but to avoid sinful anger. If we don't keep antagonistic emotions on a tight leash, they will cease to be useful in restraining sin, and instead we will begin to multiply it. Anger towards those who possess more than we do rationalizes stealing. Anger stirred up by bad conscience enables us to deny the truth, twist it, and say all kinds of unloving things about others. Our anger can grieve the Holy Spirit, and if we resist his gentle prodding, our anger can degenerate into sin of bitterness. That should help. Your mouth getting dry. Bitterness siphons off of passion for life. It displaces faith and love, and once faith and love are gone, the downward spiral to additional sins of cynicism and malicious living follows. Don't nurse anger. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. Commands us to deal with our anger as soon as we are aware of it. Don't stuff it inside and brood over it. It will only fester, Take it out of the dark and expose it to the light. Let the truth burn away your selfish rage before it grows and deepens and hardens. This command probably reflects on the Old Testament practice of paying off debts and returning borrowed goods prior to sunset, so as not to cause undue hardship onto the other person. Likewise, we are commanded to deal with anger promptly so that we will avoid undue relational hardship. Don't give Satan an edge. Do not give the devil a foothold. Reflects a progression in Paul's series of commands. Satan knows how to exploit anger that is selfish. Once he has nursing and justifying our selfish anger, he knows we are not far from hatred, vengeance, and a refusal to forgive. Violence is also not far from. We need to keep in mind, however, that there is a fine line between anger that is loving and anger that is selfish. Complete avoidance of anger is another way of giving Satan an edge. Unfortunately, many people avoid anger at all costs because they have experienced volatile emotion of anger that is terrifying to deal with in themselves and in others. According to Ephesians 4:26, that is not an option God gives us. We play into the devil's hands not only when we follow our anger into sin, but when we allow sinful self-protection to keep us from obeying God's command. God's command, in your anger, do not sin. Few occasions give our enemy more freedom than when the children of God fail to love enough to be angry. Anger and love are not mutually exclusive. They can be two different sides of the same coin. Righteous anger and a compassionate person can be very productive for the well-being of others. And that's all we got for our devotion. So go ahead, be angry.